Cuiv. You knew Father McGreal, Father Michael.
Oh, I knew him very well, and I knew him way back in the days when, just before he was ordained, and when I was in Cunnamulla as a student. And I remember being very impressed with him at that time. Essentially at that time, the big interest in his life that we knew about were two things. Obviously his interest in the Irish language, that's how I met him.
Yeah.
And the other thing was that he had a big interest in disadvantaged people, particularly in the traveller community. And he certainly inculcated that same interest in myself. It was only later that I realised the huge connections he had with the Man Valley. And of course I went to live in Cunnamulla subsequently.
Yeah.
And therefore he
that was your constituency, yeah?
He reappeared very much in my life. And through all the years of me getting into politics, but before that being in the co-op, Michael was a good friend and a good supporter and somebody who was vehement about the need to develop the West and for what now is termed as balanced regional development.
Yeah, he was on the ball there, yeah. And he got into the prejudice area.
He did the 3 books.
Three books.
I wrote the foreword for the last book, which was a great privilege. And they were very, very useful books to me as a minister because it gave me independent proof, for example, of the status of the Irish language, status of all immigrant communities in Ireland, and the last one particularly, he did quite a bit of interesting work in relation to the vicious circle in terms of the traveller community, that they're marginalised and the marginalisation itself causes issues with society, and that this goes round in a circle that we have to break.
Mm-hmm. And were you involved in his Maumeen project?
Of course.
Did you grant it? Did you grant aid or anything like that?
No. Michael didn't need a grant for that one. But we did help him in various ways. He was fairly worried at one stage because they had done repairs on the road and there was some issue that they hadn't any permission from the National Parks and Wildlife, but that matter got resolved, thanks to God. I'd say he did a bit of praying over that one, but certainly it got resolved, and he was much more worried about it than even I fully appreciated at the time. Mm-hmm. So I was very closely associated with him in Maumeen, and always when we were up in Maumeen, particularly on a Good Friday, we'd bring him to the house. Now, an interesting thing, obviously it being Good Friday, you couldn't offer him meat, and my good wife used to always cook fish. But what we didn't realise for the first few years is that Father Michael McGreal wasn't very keen on fish.
Wasn't, so? And I'm from Westport.
Him from Westport.
Yeah. But he was a very interesting man, right, isn't he?
Oh yeah, my children loved him and loved having conversations with him.
He was involved in the pioneer movement as well, wasn't he?
He was.
Was it president there?
He was president of the pioneer movement in Ireland. He was involved in so many movements, and they were all very worthy movements. He was involved very much in to save the West and all those different campaigns over the years. So, and the breadth of his input from a professional level is quite amazing. From the surveys that he did in relation to immigration and all these issues, population trends and so on, and then the work he did, as you said, on prejudice and tolerance, which was monumental because he did it over 30 years. You can see the changes, and you can see how society, for example, attitude to unionists improved over those years, how society's attitudes can be changed with good leadership.
That would have been in common with your own thoughts now about saving the West. That would have been a big platform for you and your ilk at the time.
Yes, absolutely. I mean,
have they saved the West?
Yeah, well, yes, certainly.
I think they have, yeah.
Certainly, it's vibrant. There are challenges we face.
Yeah.
The interesting challenge we seem to face at the moment has been the biggest challenge is people getting planning permission, which means people want to stay. It's not a question of persuading people to stay. It's a question of providing houses for them in the towns and villages, but out in the countryside as well, if that's where they came from and that's where their family homes were. So these are challenges, but they're good challenges. They're challenges of growth and people want to stay, not challenges of decay.
But the population drain has stopped, has it? From the West?
The population drain has stopped, but we have a new phenomenon in the country, and that is a dramatically decreasing birth rate right across the country, and that is affecting rural areas at the moment.
That's right across Europe, isn't it?
It's right across the world, but it's
Across the world.
Europe.
Well, parts are expanding and parts are shrinking, and Ireland has entered into negative population growth now
That is
recently.
a challenge. That's
I've seen that.
a challenge for the future.
So maybe the Catholic Church are right all along.
Well, all I'd say is with no young people coming up,
Yeah.
we all face a challenge into the future, from mundane things such as who to pay for the pensions,
It's
to
the big thing.
who
Yeah.
provide the labour to provide all the services that we need.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thanks very much.
Thank you.